Neal, how was the weekend with your dad?
Nice, lovely to have him up. So took him out, showed him a bit of York. It'd have been nice on the back of 3 points, but it's football, doesn't always go the way you want it to. But yeah, lovely to see him.
Are you able to switch off?
No. I'll try April the 21st, I think it'll be. You always, especially when the games come thick and fast, you're trying to sort of look back at your game, and then you're trying to look at the next team. You're trying to look at the data and listen to the staff on players and niggles and any fitness concerns. You're trying to work out, if you can't play a certain player, what could you do? It's the best way to try and get something from the next game, and you're always thinking.
Does it help keep things in perspective though? This is actually only a game. We know we're all gone mad after a defeat or after a poor performance, but it's not really the end of the world. I've been in management, God knows how long now, 12 years or whatever, but I don't know why I go in football management, because I don't really get too high with the wins. I'm not one of these that thinks, brilliant, but I kind of just start focusing on the next game. But when we lose, I take it to heart and I take it personally, and I wonder what I could have done better and criticise myself. So I probably haven't got the balance right of both of them, and that's 12 years in. He must have watched an awful lot of football, your dad. So what did he say?
He said, when I heard him, he didn't say too much to me. I heard him talking to friends on the phone. He said that he thought we were the most likely team to win the game, but in the end, probably a draw might have been a fair result.
How do you then, going forward, try and turn some of these draws into victories, which is what you're going to have to do, I suppose, between now and the end of the season?
Yeah, of course, we've got to win games, and I'm well aware. I don't sit here and go, wow, aren't we pretty to watch, aren't we lovely? I'm not stupid, but you've got to look at the squad. You've got every squad that's down there's got different, some people have to play a certain way, some people have got loads of pace and loads of attack. We look and go, we've spent 2 months trying to improve our defensive record, because if we didn't, let's be honest, we wouldn't even be, we'd be needing snookers now. So we've tried to make the team fitter, tried to get them to do their jobs properly, make us harder to beat. And then you've got to try and sort of get that base. Now you've got that base, you've got to try and add the little spark and the creative stuff. And some of that isn't tactical, some of that is just getting players back in form and getting them back to their best, which we work hard on. I've had loads of individual conversations, the arm around the shoulder type ones. We do need the wins, but we have to get the balance right all the time, because I think if you saw early in the season when we got pulled open as a team, and you saw the games before I was here, when we got pulled open as a team, teams looked like they could score going forward, and you'd be a better judge of it than me because you've been watching all season. I don't feel like we're like that so much at the moment. I don't feel like teams can open us up at will. But then we've got to just try and get the balance right where we cause them a bit more of a problem, and if we can get it right and we can get a little bit of a spark out of the attacking players and get them to hit a bit of form, we can go back to back, which is obviously what's missing at the moment.
So when you see the other teams at the bottom, thinking especially teams like Ebbsfleet, Fylde, Kidderminster putting back-to-back wins together and scoring a few goals in the process, do you think the problems the managers, when they've come in there and inherited, haven't been so deep-rooted as the ones maybe you found here?
I don't want to sit here at this point and start telling you how bad things were when I arrived, because I don't think it's the right time to, but they were, and it took me at least 2 months to sift through it, and to sort of be, and let's be honest, we were bottom of the league without a win. To be bottom of the league without a win and the worst defensive record in the league and 38 players, to getting to the point where we are now, I think it's taken a lot of time and dedication and effort to get us to this point. Now everyone's getting nervous because it's the final stretch and this is where it really matters, and everybody's got to play each other, and there's some tough games, and you look at us now, we're playing Oldham in form and Barnet probably the best team we've seen here earlier in the season, and my job is to try and get something from these games to keep us going. What do we need? Do we need 3 wins and some draws? Do we need 4 wins? Do we need... Nobody knows. You just have to keep taking each game as it comes.
But yeah, this has been tough to even get to this point, and I'm not trying to pat myself on the back because self-praise is no praise, but it's been tough. But it will all go out the window if we don't get where we need to on 46 games.
I'm trying to remember if it was after the game on Saturday or after last week, and you sort of hinted that maybe at times the players had struggled to deal with some of the pressure, especially playing here where we've only had 3 wins all season. Is tomorrow night now the sort of game where you feel as though your team maybe won't be under as much pressure, because many people will come here thinking York City aren't expected to win, whereas I think lots of people would have come on Saturday and last Tuesday saying we've got to win these games?
I think there's a tension around that bottom of the table clash. I think you could feel it in the Dorking game from both sides, and they've obviously got pot lucky with the shot a little bit, to be fair, on Saturday. I don't know, it's hard because I've watched Oldham. They're in really good form, really strong players, really good manager, as you know. So I look and go, it's going to be tough. And I haven't sort of put that onto the players. It's going to be tough. We're going to have to play really well to get something going. So then you go, right, what do we do? How can we do it? Where can we add? What can we do to cause them problems? And today I've got some players need a light session because their legs are still very heavy from Saturday, so you've got to try and get all your tactical messages across today, go through all your set plays. You've got to try and get everything right in an hour and 15-minute session where you're having to do a lot more stop, stand still, because there's a lot of fatigue in the group.
I suppose when you do go into a side that's confident and a winning side, that hour and a half becomes a little bit easier. You don't maybe need as much time as potentially you do.
Yeah, and also, we are trying to keep it fresh, because we know if we keep flogging the same dead horses every week, we will pick up injuries, and we've already picked up a couple, as you know, from Saturday, where people come off. Scott Burgess come in after training the other day, Kai Kennedy come in today with a really sore knee that flared up from I don't know what running, because he didn't get on the pitch. So you have all these little challenges as well, but yes, I get it. I've spoke to a couple of fans. They've said, can we get at teams? And I get it. That's how I've always played. I haven't got in playoff finals and playoffs through not scoring goals and getting at teams. We're in a situation now. I've got to try and find the best way to pick up the points we need.
So how have Oldham, how has Mickey managed to turn them around? I think, to be fair, loads of people would have thought Oldham at the start of the season were underperforming, because he's not brought that many players in, actually. A lot of the players that will play here tomorrow night probably played in the game earlier in the season.
A few. He has made some good signings. He has made one or two. He's brought Andrew Dallas in, I know. He's brought Garner in. He's brought a few lads in. He's tweaked it a little bit. But, again, I think from what I hear from Pryor, he's come in, he's got them a lot more organised than they were, and they've got good players. They've kicked on and done well. So it happens. Just like Kidderminster with Brownie. I looked at all the stats prior to Brownie going in, and Kiddy were actually on their expected goals league position. They were saying they should have been mid-table, and yet they were bottom of the league. So Brownie's come in, and that sort of seems to have clicked in and come in. So it's going to be tough. There's lots of teams down there that are decent teams, and we've got to take every single game. Right, this is this game. I can't even think about Barnet. I've just got to go, right, how's the best chance we can get out of this? I've got to try and keep the spirits high. I've got to use all my leadership that I've had in the past, in relegation fights, in promotion battles, to try and stay at that level where the players feed off of you rather than you get yourself down and they feed off of that.
Mike Fond up front as well started scoring goals, hasn't he, regularly? He's going to be a handful for your defence tomorrow night.
Both of them are. Him and Garner. Watched them play Maidenhead on Saturday. They were excellent. And again, it's that, our defence has been good. We need another strong performance, and then we're certainly going to need another one on Saturday. So, this is the back end of a 5-game streak where we've got to see it through, try and have a breather, sort of down week where we just get the legs back ready to go into another 5-game 2-week spell. So, and we looked at it, and we had a 6-week period where we went, we've got 10 games, we've only got 6 games left after that, and it's a time to try and keep chipping away, and keep nicking points, keep nicking a win, keep doing what we can to just keep ourselves where we need to go, because that's what it's going to be like.
And when they're backed by a huge away following, as they will be tomorrow night, do you think that plays a part in why their away form is so good? I think it's second only to Chesterfield.
Thanks for that. You just made it even harder.
The top of the form guard as well, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Well, okay, there you go. So, look, one thing I pride myself on as a manager, or certainly recently, I've made us competitive in all the games. You know, I think the Hartlepool game was the only time I think we'd gone 2 behind in a game for a long time. So we've been in games consistently. We've had a chance in games, and actually probably the last 8 games we've turned around the expected goals from earlier in the season where you look at probably nicked a point we didn't deserve there. We've deserved to win at least 4, maybe 5 of our last 8 and drawn 1 or 2 and only lost 1 or 2. So, you know, we've started to even turn that around a little bit more. Like I say, I do believe we're a little bit of confidence and a spark from our attacking players, and if they all start chipping in and hitting a bit of form, I believe that the rest of it's in place.
I'm told there may be a winger, attacking midfielder coming in before tomorrow night. What can you tell us?
Yeah, that's true. I don't think it's been sorted quite yet, so I can't go telling you any news on it, but it's certainly one we are trying to get sorted, whether we can get it sorted in time for tomorrow. But the lad has been in, he's trained. We've just got to try and get it over the line.
I can embargo if you want to. So you can talk about it?
I don't know what Lisa...
That's fine.
Where it is. So.
Dippo, how is he?
I think he's going to be a doubt. I was hoping it settled down after. I was hoping he might turn up today, 2 days later, with it a little bit more settled down, but it hadn't. So we're sort of umming and ahhing whether we can put him through his paces tomorrow and see if it's any better. But I think that might be a long shot. But we'll see him. Kai Kennedy, Scott Burgess are all sort of potential doubts.
And you talked about, could John Lewis go back to back? Is he okay? Could he start tomorrow?
Lenny's fit and well. I think it's for Lenny's frame and size. He put a hell of a lot into Saturday's game. So I've got to look and see whether I can get the same performance out of him. But that's a decision me and the staff will make.
Finally, what would it mean to get 3 points in a game like tomorrow night? A big game, big atmosphere, a game where maybe some people won't expect your side to get 3 points.
Of course, it'd be huge. It doesn't matter who you get them against. 3 points is 3 points, because then you look back and you go, okay, well, that would be 7 out of the last 12. That's really strong form, and that's how you look at it. But we know the size of the task for the next 2 games. We've done as much work as we can today with the whole squad, making sure that we know what's coming. We know how we're going to try and approach the game, and you know, when they cross that line, I try and take care of all the grey areas in any performance, because I think when we get caught a little bit, we're not quite sure of what we're doing. That's when we're at our worst. I think the boys, you know, like I said to them before, I'll never ever throw anyone under the bus for mistakes. As long as everyone works incredibly hard without the ball for the team, if anybody tries to make something happen, it doesn't come off, they'll never get a criticism from me. Maybe if they try and do some keepy-uppies in our own box, but generally they'll never get any criticism. So it's just making them, taking any doubt out of their mind and trying to make them, you know, not panic, not kick the ball away. Everything's got to be a better pass, everything's got to have a bit of quality to it. And like I say, if we can get our hold-up play and our sort of middle third play a bit better, we'll have more chances to create better chance in final third, because it's when it breaks down there that we never quite get our momentum.
Great, thank you.
Slightly better performance on Saturday, Neil, but still that creativity and failed to dominate Dagenham. A few boos at the final whistles. Do you understand that, even though it might be a bit harsh?
Of course it is. Fans have only seen 3 home wins. They get frustrated. They're looking at they probably look at the fixtures and go, well, this is our best chance. You know, Dorking, Dagenham, chances to really go and kick on from the Southend game, and we you know, I said it afterwards in the press, we deserved to beat Dorking. They had 1 shot on goal. Whether we was brilliant or not, it doesn't matter. We had 3 or 4 clear-cut chances. We didn't take them. They scored with a 25-yarder. And we got sucker punched. And you know, I'm not going to sort of be all doom and gloom. I was devastated with the result, just like the fans, but we deserved to win. Dagenham, did we do enough to win? Possibly not. But they were a well organised, big, strong team. You know, we was competitive, but yeah, I get it. You know, they're at home, they want more from us. They want us to, if we go and win 2-0, you know, we come up with a game plan in the Gateshead game to beat them and put in a brilliant performance. In the last couple, we haven't quite managed to get, you know, 1 point from 2 home games isn't good enough, and that's the frustration from them. But they've always come out next game and try to get behind us.
Defensively looks sound. We're going to need to be against Oldham. 3 wins and a draw in the last 5. How are you approaching this one?
We need to be every game. You know, if you look at
we do all our homework. We work really hard on everything, including set plays. The other day we switched off from a set play, which, to go 1-0 down after 10 minutes is hard, especially when you've just lost 1-0. I thought we reacted to that quite well, got back in the game and was most likely to go and win it. But yeah, defensively we've got to be sound, because at the moment, when we're not sort of firing on all cylinders at the other end, taking our chances, it's a recipe for disaster if we're defensively weak at the other end.
Finley Barnes was lively on Saturday, showed some good touches. Were you pleased with how he performed? Yeah,
Finn's a lad, you've got to remember, this is highest level he's played at. He's come in, he's developing. I'm trying to give him, while we're keeping rotation in the squad a little bit for the games to keep it fresh, we've tried to use Finn's skills and abilities, which he did. I think he sort of 2 games in 3 days eventually got to sort of 65, 70 minutes. He was tiring and we brought the subs on, so I've been really pleased with him in his application, just as much as I've all the boys.
1,700 Oldham fans probably tomorrow night, a good atmosphere in the stadium, that'll obviously lift Oldham. Will it help York as well?
Hope so. If you don't want to play in front of big crowds as a footballer, you shouldn't be playing the game. No one wants to play in front of fans. They want to play in front of a really good atmosphere. Both teams, fans getting behind them and getting on the right into the game, and that's what football's all about. So I hope it will bring out the best in our lads in what's going to be a really tough game.
Okay, thanks.
So in terms of going back earlier on this season, Oldham won 2-0 against York City. Have you watched that back? How do you reflect upon that result going into this game?
Not too much, because it was a different manager, different set of players. Mickey's got them doing different things now. When you reflect on Oldham now, we watch back their last 3 or 4 games. We look at the shapes they've played, subs they've made, options they've got. They've signed new players since, and we look at all their threats, and that's what we try and do. And we try and look at what shape would suit what we've got available, and how we might try and put that shape into good use to cause them problems. But like I say, I just mentioned then, if we're all over the shop without the ball, the game could be over before it starts. So we've got to make sure that there's a really good structure and work ethic, like the boys have done for the most part.
And they've only lost 1 game this season, Oldham. Is it about what they're doing, or is it more you have to focus on yourselves and what you're going into in a game like this when a team's on such good form?
I think you have to focus on yourself, but you have to focus on yourself. You have to understand what they're doing well, and some of it is just they've got, good players, which they have, and they're in a good place and they're full of confidence. And then you look and go, okay, how's best to get our players into this game and cause them problems? And we certainly won't be. We want to be really respectful for who and what they are and how well they're playing, but we certainly don't want to be worried the players about it. The players have got to have belief that if they do a lot of the good habits that they have done and add a little bit of quality, that we can, go and cause them problems too.
We've touched on the poor home form as well slightly. How do you address something like that, going to a game and a tough run of games as well in the next 2?
I try not to think about it too much. I don't get desperate about it where I'm saying, come on, we're at home, we've got to win. Or you just look at each game and go, how's the best way for us to get a result here, whether it's home or away? And some teams you play are very, very dominant with the ball and possession, like when we play Gateshead, and you have to accept, whether you're home or not, that you might have to spend 60-65% of the time without the ball, and that might have to be part of your game plan. Oldham have got threats all over the pitch, so we've got to make sure that from front to back we're all doing our jobs. But will the game be a lot more open? Possibly, and we've got to be trying to get the lads ready for every eventuality, really.
Do you see this as a potential opportunity to make a statement at this late stage in the season?
I don't think there's any statements being made. I think it's an opportunity to try and get some points on the board. Every game's that. Whether we need 3 wins and some draws, whether we need 4 wins, whatever it happens to be, you've got a target. And Oldham, Barnet are tough games to get them wins in. But we've seen it happen. It doesn't mean it can't happen. I think from the majority of the time, from 2nd down to 24th, anyone seems to be able to beat anyone. Obviously, Chesterfield being a slight exception. And
going down to the last stage of the season, how do you manage a team going into the last stage of the season and maybe fighting for points?
Just got to be positive. If I lose my head with them, if I lose my rag, if I start getting erratic and feeling the pressure, then I'm going to pass that on to the players. And my job each game is to say, right, this is how you'll win this game, this is what we'll do, and we try and work through it, and we try and give them clarity. And when we do that, by and large, the performance follows. It's just then the bits that the boys need to spark off, the bit of quality, the final pass, which is, I can't quite control that bit. That's the bit where the quality of the player comes out, hopefully.
Brilliant. Cheers, Neil. Thank you.